2024. This hearing is being held as required by the provisions of Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth, an act relative to the protection of the wetlands, as most recently amended. Notice of the time and place of this hearing was published in the Fairhaven Neighborhood News on October 3rd, 2024. It was also posted in the town clerk's office and the town hall. Persons wishing to be heard will be called in the following order. Just two reminders, this meeting is being recorded, audio and video, and also anybody here, if you could silence your cell phones, I would appreciate that. First order of business, no minutes for approval, meeting mail. Letter to Carolyn J. Moore, 474 Middle Road, Acushnet, Mass. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Mark, you sent the letter, we have a copy of the letter here. Was there a response to the letter?
Yeah, we had a resident come in Tuesday, I believe, and said that they're looking to purchase the property. That they had somebody out there just to clear brush, and when I walked, the section I walked, it was to the, dry side of the flags. The flags seemed to be accurate. I mean, we didn't have soil or anything, but the gentleman said that they were just clearing brush. They're going to survey it, and they're interested in purchasing it. It's someone that's got an excavation business, and it's better access to the road than where they are. So,
But the work seemed to be within the buffer zone of our jurisdiction, correct?
yeah.
Okay, well, I would just ask them to stop until
Yeah,
they're properly permitted.
Yep.
With us.
And they acknowledge that.
Okay.
They said so.
Okay, next order of business, stormwater. Continued public hearing, stormwater, AMN Estate Holdings LLC, 39 Keene Road. A stormwater permit application has been filed by AMN Estate Holdings for property located at 39 Keene Road, map 2, lots 16, 12G, and 13B. The applicant proposes to construct a 6-lot residential subdivision, including 702 linear feet roadway with a cul-de-sac turnaround, on-site sewage disposal system, and private wells. The applicant is represented by John Marchand of Fallon Corp. Plan name is Drainage Map, Angelo Drive Subdivision, dated August 30th, 2023, revised March 25th, 2024. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Marchand, the floor is yours.
I don't know if it would make sense to move this to after the RDA.
I would say it really don't matter because I haven't seen anything from our peer review yet. Have you, Joanne? Have you received anything from Bill?
Did we? No,
No,
39 Keene.
we didn't.
I don't think we have. I haven't.
No.
Did,
And I know, I know the RDA was part of planning's thing, so I guess.
Gotta go there on next one?
We did receive a letter from GAF
Did.
dated October 3rd. It came through planning, so I don't know if we got.
Yeah, I think we did, yeah.
We did. I haven't seen
I
it.
don't know, I don't think I sent it out, that's why. We
Okay.
didn't send it out. We got all those comments. Yeah, hey, things are gonna happen with the amount of busyness going on up there.
Okay. Were all the conservation box checked on the stormwater end?
I could speak to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the record, John Marchand from Farland Corp., here on behalf of AMN Estate Holdings. As far as the stormwater review, we had received an initial comment letter from GAF in July. We had made a number of revisions to the plan. Resulted in making the basin a little bigger. They wanted to see some more proposed clearing and impervious on the assumed lots. So increased the size of the proposed houses, added some impervious in the backyard, some pools, just to make it more reasonable, I guess. We did receive a follow-up comment letter from them on October 3rd. There were 2 remaining issues that they wanted addressed. One of them was more detailed specification on the HDPE pipe that we're using, to clarify that it's soil tight. So we did that, the revised plans. And the other was adding some detail on the overflows and dimensions of the emergency overflow. So we added that to the plan. All the other comments were addressed to their satisfaction.
Okay. When's your next hearing with the planning board on this matter?
I believe it's the 17th.
When's our next meeting?
23rd.
23rd. So it's in between. So they're next Thursday?
Yeah, next Thursday, man.
Okay. I don't doubt
I
what
know,
you,
the last I sent to you guys was when the September 11th, right? The September 11th comments back.
Yes, our comments back to.
Right, I didn't see anything for October 3rd. Could have missed it. Was it sent, it's, because it's all going through the plan.
Yeah, I have one
You have
copy of
it,
it.
yeah. I don't recall.
yeah, see,
I'm
I
sure
didn't
it's
see a
there,
copy. I haven't
yeah.
talked to Bill, so I don't
Right,
know.
that's the thing, if it goes through, it's going through planning, which is a great help, but
Yeah, but they need to share, that information with
she
us.
probably did, I probably missed it.
Okay.
I probably missed it,
Well,
between the two of
Either
them.
way,
Missed it.
we didn't get to see.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, blame me.
That stinks.
I would feel more comfortable seeing Bill Madden sign off on all the boxes that were checked off. I know part of the planning sign off was the next item we have on the agenda. And their meeting is on the 17th, and then our next meeting is on the 23rd. I would feel more comfortable continuing this to the 23rd until everything's signed off on. I don't have an issue, I mean, we did a site visit on Saturday. I don't have an issue with what I saw out there. Obviously, the test pits were dug, and that was part of Bill's comments. I would feel more comfortable knowing that Bill Madden has signed off on it as our peer reviewer, you know.
All right, I'll make a motion, if you like. I'll make a motion to have this continued till our next meeting on the 23rd of October.
Okay, there's a
For
motion.
more
I'll second
information.
it.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
So that's on me, I guess. I'll
Well,
go look
yeah,
at planning and see if I can find
Yeah, if you
the
could,
comments.
please, and get
Yeah,
that,
I'll get an email
get that
to
out to the
Okay,
commission.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, John.
No, that's okay.
You know, you got another meeting anyways in between. It'll be 7 days later, not even less than that, so. Okay, the Lake Street Reservoir, that's continued to our October 23rd meeting as well. So next agenda item is an RDA AMN Estate Holdings LLC, 39 Keene Road, map 2, lots 12G, 13B, and 16. A request for determination was filed by AMN Estate Holdings LLC property for property located at 39 Keene Road, map 2, lots 12G, 13B, and 16. The applicant proposes to construct a 6-lot residential subdivision and associated roadway and stormwater infrastructure with all proposed work located greater than 100 feet from the wetland resource areas. The applicant is seeking determination that the boundaries of the resource areas are accurately delineated and whether the proposed activities are subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. The applicant is represented by John Marchand of Fallon Court. Plan name is Angelo Drive Subdivision, dated August 30th, 2023, revised September 6th, 2024. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Mr. Marchand.
For the record, John Marchand from Farland Corp., here on behalf of the applicant. This is the same project we were just speaking of on Keene Road. It's a 10.5 acre site on the west side of Keene Road. We're proposing a 6-lot subdivision. There are wetlands on the site. They were delineated by ECR in January of 2023. And the intent is to kind of approve the line as it was delineated on the plans to satisfy the planning board's requirements.
John, could you speak up just a little bit for me?
Okay, sure. So the intent of this RDA is to approve the wetland delineation as it's shown on the plan. It's part of the requirement of the planning board process, and we missed that step when we initially filed, so.
Is there anybody from the public here to speak on this or view this project, 39 Keene Road? No? Okay. So we did a site visit on Saturday. This was part of the planning's requirement. They wanted a determination from the commission whether the subdivision itself would apply to the Wetland Protection Act. Most of the work is outside of the buffer zone. There is one lot on the property that has some work within the 100-foot buffer zone, and that single lot will file for a notice of intent when the time comes. We went out and checked the flag line. My observations were that it was pretty. I mean, it was right at the bottom of the slope. So I mean, it was pretty. You could pretty much determine anybody. With our experience, I didn't think the flag line needed to be looked at by. It was pretty obvious. I didn't have any issues out there. From our previous site visit, the stormwater basins were staked out. You could get a better visual out there as opposed to just walking around. You could see the locations that the test pits were dug. That was a requirement from peer review, and I don't how those results came out, but apparently we'll find out soon. I don't have an issue with what I saw out there.
Chairman, we also saw all the flags, everything looked real good.
Anybody else? Comments, questions? Anybody from the public? Questions, comments? No? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative determination for 39 Keene Road.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All set. All right, we'll see you on the 23rd meeting.
23rd,
Yeah. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, next order of business, public hearing, notice of intent and stormwater for White's Farm Incorporated, 211 Middle Road, map 23, lots 29, 29A, 29B. SE file number 0010596. Notice of intent and stormwater application was filed by Zachary Farks, Middle Road Acushnet Solar LLC, for property located at 211 Middle Road, map 23, lots 29, 29A, and 29B. The applicant proposes to construct a ground-mounted solar array on a portion of the open fields within the property located at 211 Middle Road in Acushnet. The work is limited to the 100-foot buffer zone of a bordering vegetated wetland and bank. The applicant is represented by Sarah Stearns of Beals & Thomas Incorporated. Plan name is Middle Road PV Solar Development, dated September 10th, 2024. Review of matters presented. Votes may be taken. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Sarah, floor is yours.
Good evening. For the record, Sarah Stearns, I'm a professional wetland scientist with Beals & Thomas. My colleague Nate Bouts is an engineer who worked in the stormwater calculations for this project. Our client and applicant, Zach Farkas from Rewild Renewables, is on his way, so he should be joining us shortly. But we will get started, and Mr. Chair, if it pleases the commission, I'm happy to give an overview of the project and the stormwater design, and then entertain questions from the commission and the public as you see fit.
Absolutely.
Great, okay. So we did set up, these two boards are exactly the same, just so the audience could see what we're talking about at the same time as the commission, and I'm trying to see you two over there. So the project, as we saw on the site visit with most of the commission, as well as the agent, is located at 211 Middle Road, an open field predominantly at the Acushnet, New Bedford municipal boundary. All work is proposed on the Acushnet side of the municipal boundary. This project has been filed as a notice of intent for work in the buffer zone only. No wetland impacts are proposed as part of this project. Work within the buffer zone, as we saw on our site visit, includes a gravel ring road for public safety access, fencing, portions of panels, and equipment pads. We have made an effort to hold the 25-foot offset from the wetland line as well. And in supplemental information, we're happy to add that 25-foot to the plan. I don't believe it's on there currently in the copy that you have, but we're happy to add that just to confirm that we are holding that 25-foot setback. The portion of the stormwater basin, and I'll turn it over to Nate in a minute to talk in a little bit more detail about stormwater, but I just wanted to point out that for this project, which is about 14 acres, the array itself of the 54 plus or minus acre site has been designed to meet the state stormwater standards, local stormwater requirements as well. And just for everyone's information, we understand that the commission has retained GAF Engineering as a peer review engineer to look at our work in detail and on behalf of the town and provide the commission with a report and suggestions for us to revise or improve anything that they comment on. So, you know, there's different ways to skin a cat, certainly, but we want to make sure that this design is as good and solid as it can be. So having that peer review is just a double check on our work, and we expect that Mr. Madden will have some comments, so we're happy to continue to work with him and really do our best to make this project as solid as it can be. I know that stormwater is a concern in this area, particularly in the town where there are some areas of poor draining soils, so we really want to make sure this is looked at very carefully. And I guess I'll turn it over to Nate just to give an overview for the commission and for the public, just to understand what goes into the stormwater design on a site where we're not clearing trees, there's very little site work, but there's still the requirement to manage stormwater in a way that does not increase flows or velocity off the site.
So, as part of the stormwater design under existing conditions, everything is sloped towards the wetland, so to the east. So stormwater flows towards the wetland and then is conveyed to this existing pond in the corner of the... So stormwater flows all to the east towards the wetland and then is conveyed to an existing pond and then piped under Middle Road. As part of the proposed development, obviously there's minimal change in cover type with this project. The gravel 360 road and also the equipment pads would be the change in cover type. So to meet the stormwater runoff rates for those changes in cover types, we have a detention basin proposed in the corner of the site. Also drainage swales and 2 forebays to convey water to the basin. That's pretty much the stormwater.
Okay. That really covers it. I just wanted to keep it brief, but again, just to point out to the commission, and you can point out to the public, the delineated wetlands were approved recently under an ANRAD, and an ORAD was issued for it. The wetlands are really relegated to this portion of the site. There is, as of right now, a visual screening berm proposed on 2 sides of the site. That is outside of the 100-foot buffer zone, but that's something that we'll be discussing in the planning board process, which likely, hopefully, will be happening within the next month or so. And for the public too, that is another forum to come and listen and voice your questions at the planning board. You'll be notified, I'm assuming you're all abutters for this project.
Definitely interested.
Yep, so you'll be notified again when that filing with the planning board gets noticed, and that will give you the time and date of the hearing for that review. So this process is really just for this commission to make a determination on the work within the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetlands, which is on the far side of the site.
Yep.
But the planning board process is for all of the other components, screening and that sort of thing. So, that's it.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ryan, I'll let you go first.
Oh, I was gonna go to the public, but you got any comments? Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Have we determined the size of the capacity of the stormwater basin? Have we determined the capacity or the size of that stormwater basin for the runoff?
Yes, and you could talk about it in more detail, but that's the basis of the stormwater management report. All of that gets calculated in, which that was submitted with the notice of intent as well as a copy to GAF Engineering.
So do we have a number, a capacity number for that, a holding number?
The exact, cubic feet, I don't have that available, it's on the stormwater report. But it was designed, so the health agent reviewed this during the pre-filing meeting, and he sent over his requirements for, the foot of freeboard, offset to groundwater, all those comments, which the detention basin was designed to.
Yeah, we were emailed a copy of the notice of intent and all the stormwater calculations and everything.
Yep, and that's something that Madden will be looking at carefully as well. If it needs to be bigger, he'll tell us. If it's too big, he'll tell us.
Was the drain that we found brought up?
I'm gonna have to talk, we'll have to talk to Bill about that. I believe it's in the vicinity of the stormwater basin, so for whatever it's doing is going to be captured as part of that.
So, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on, I need to think on how to word this. I know I'm not gonna be in disagreement that this is a wetland, but when they did the peer review, did they take in consideration any of this such drainage as we found on site into the calculations?
It's under peer review right now.
Right.
I don't know how far along they are right now with it. It just went to peer review like a week ago or so.
Yeah. We don't have any comments or anything.
Yeah, we don't have anything back from Bill. I haven't talked to him.
I'm sure he'll look at it and definitely make him aware of it.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him because I wanted to ask him about a couple of projects.
Yeah, and it's just like this thing we were calling a pond in here with something that goes across the road. Seems more like a stormwater system to me. Already that's existing, that's already failing. So it kind of puts up an alarm for me. And especially, I went out and noticed it when I walked away from you guys. I did my own investigation. This wetland area on the bottom, I believe, if I remember correctly, this was from previous meeting where these people were in here complaining about flooding already. Even with this berm, there's not much of a ledger for me to go off of either on this to see like the overlays of the landscape and everything. But I'm also worried about the pond, the detention pond. I don't know. I know how it's on the other side. We got the buildings in the way, the old caddy shack or whatever it is. Is that going to be staying? Is there any way we can get the pond a little closer to where these houses are, maybe? Because it's all, if you followed the water and the way the grass was laying, so the grass was laying, that field has not been maintained in quite some time. So you can tell by the way the grass was leaned that which way the water was flowing. And where this basin is, it's as of right now, and if we do not touch the landscape as very much, the way that land is flowing, it's going towards that. So even with the basin there, from what I see, it's still going to get around the basin. It could still cause a problem over there, if not more.
I think, there's berms proposed as well.
But the berm, from what, like I said, there's not much of a ledger here.
Mr. Chairman.
And if there's a berm, that berm ends over here, considering from what I can see. They do have like a rock type of formation over here on the bottom, but between the detention pond and the proposed berm, from where I'm seeing, it looks like 160 according to the small meter ledger.
What he's talking about? Sure, he's talking. Up this one.
Over here, so to me, it still looks like there would be exit for water. And even if there wasn't, if there's nothing there, water works on less resistance. So if there isn't one, it's just gonna make the water want to pool there more. Because now it's gonna want to run the side of this berm, and it's gonna follow the berm down, and then it's gonna dump into there, and then the detention pond is north, so it's no way it's gonna catch it.
Did you bring any of those small handouts with you today? That we were looking at on Saturday?
Just the aerial?
The aerial
See what I'm
photo.
saying, right?
Is that,
That's one of the.
are we looking for the
Is that
grading?
the same?
Yeah,
It is?
Yeah,
I thought there was elevations on that one.
no,
Yeah, I
it's too
think-
small.
I think that, but in the field, it appears the topography is higher on the south side of the basin.
Water's tricky, sometimes
Right.
I deal with it all the time, and sometimes it will still be higher, but it'll have less resistance, and then the water will pool till it gets to that rate, and then it will pop off. The same way the detention pond is designed to work is the way that water works. So now if there is some type of failure in there, it just would have to go a few, we'll use
Yeah,
imaginary.
that's right.
We'll
Thank
use
you.
imaginary. But it wasn't, it's high, it's lower over there. I can just, from my trained eye, I can stand there and look across the field and I can tell every high spot, every low spot. I could tell by the grass, the way the grass is flowing, the different direction the flow is, the way the grass is laying. It all gives you good, logical, way of predicting these things from happening.
Create the runoff. Starts
Yeah, there's,
Like, is that supposed to be a catchment, all those little,
there's a,
at 90.
see the little like stone looking things on, that run the side of the wall?
yeah, that's the gravel road.
So that's the road, yeah, see, so that means if, all right, so then it's gonna be impervious, so that makes it even more likely that the water's gonna travel this way. It's gonna follow the road, and then the road's gonna get rutted.
But on, you don't have this drawing, on the back of that road is a forebay that goes underneath the road to a spillway, or there's a, yeah, and there's a forebay right there on the bottom, on the back side of that road, right where you're.
Yeah, I'm just going by what I have in
Oh,
front of me. I don't have.
Well, we'll let Bill Madden we'll bring that up to Bill, that point.
Yeah.
But there is, on the plans that I have, there's a forebay on the back side of that road.
So what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? How are they gonna get over the road, under the road?
Probably.
Are they gonna put a bridge?
No, imagine that road,
A pipe, so then it's gonna be at level. It's gonna be at ground level.
these plans I got right here don't have elevations
Not
on them.
all.
Do you want us
Chairman, can I
to,
make a,
Say, do you want-
should we put the full-size?
we do have a full-size grading plan. If you'd like to see that.
Mr. Chairman, we are having a peer review by Bill Madden, correct?
Right.
Bill Madden will pick this up, correct?
Oh, I would
Well-
imagine you would.
We can only assume.
Yeah,
And we bring it up to them.
Yeah, I think
Right.
he could watch the meeting notes, or he could speak with the chair or the agent to get the information. All of these are very good points that should be thoroughly,
Yeah.
answers should be thoroughly given to the commission for comfort. We want to make sure this
I can come
works
to the
as well as
office.
designed.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
That has all. Exactly. No,
Yeah, take these plans right here, it shows all the
If it's
elevations.
not in like dire concern, I can go to the office.
Okay. Anybody else? The other thing was the forced sewer main.
The sewer, I went back to the office and it is shown on the plan.
Okay.
So the surveyors did pick that up.
All
So
right.
we're aware of that. I personally wasn't aware of it, but the rest
I
of the
was,
team
I was just concerned with, like, I don't know if there's some sort of easement. I imagine there's it would have to go in between a row
It's
of,
the same owner, it's the private line.
Right.
And Zach did say something about the depth, where it was not gonna be a problem.
Okay.
It gets staked out. I mean, now that we know where it is, and we can work around it.
okay.
But it is shown on the base plan and the design plan, so,
Understood.
yep, thank you.
I know I've seen it on a set of plans, but I just wanted everybody to be aware.
Yep,
We're gonna really have to make sure that these pointers are known to Bill Madden. So I have a strong feeling, very, very strong feeling, that there's a lot of water coming from the other entrance. That's not from this site.
They sell it to a farmer.
Okay.
That will change, and then if we start changing photography, it looks like that's what I think somebody already did with that drain, was already an issue with something underdeveloped for what it's trying to hold right now, which is creating a lot of this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see it become what was the last one that we just dealt with, because nobody looks at that, and then it gets overseen. And then, yes, this gets developed for this piece of property, but then nobody thinks about the thousands and thousands of gallons coming from up the waterway.
Sarah, I have a question for you. Did you look into what it's going to be, either piles driven or H-beams or helicoil?
I did. I talked to the applicant and he said helical. They don't want to do any pile driving, given the proximity to residential abutters.
And then one other thing, maybe we should also, considering that we do not have power over town stormwater, maybe this should be transferred over to planning to look over too, because they're the ones that are in control of town stormwater, correct?
The selectmen are in charge of the town's MS4.
So maybe there might be a side note for them to take a look, see if they got that map they're supposed to have done, and I got $100 I got put on it right now, that I guarantee you.
All right, I got a note here for Bill Madden. We'll bring it to his attention.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's just, yeah.
Okay, I got you. I got a note. I wrote it down. You know me, I follow up on everything.
Yeah, no, I don't, it's not that I don't trust you.
Anybody from the public, questions, comments, concerns? Sir, you can stand, you don't have to come to the podium, you can just stand up, say your name for the
Okay,
record.
yes. And actually, I just wanted to reaffirm something.
Excuse me, sir, can you state your name
My
first,
name,
please?
my name is John Bennett. I live at the lower portion of Mary Drive. I'm in the last house that you get to before the, this area here scares the living daylights out of me because of the direction of these panels and the flow of water, and I think he brought that up.
Excuse me, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
This all scares me a lot, mainly because of the direction of these panels, the way the water is designed. I've been there for 50 years in this house, I built it. This area comes down and flows this way. Everything flows down this way. And I thought there was a stream over here that came over to the end and then comes down. It follows, if this area, I can vouch for my property mainly, it follows my property line, and there's a 12-inch pipe that goes through my yard and out to a catch basin on Mary Drive.
That's exactly what I was just speaking
All right,
of.
that scares me. Actually, this water has been forced into my yard through the years, through when they put the driving range in originally. They did like a little buffer zone there and made it like a little hill, which forced all this water. It actually comes right down into my yard, right alongside of that wire fence that he has. If there's a storm, that water is gushing so hard, the basin doesn't even pick it up at the end where that pipe goes through my yard. It goes beyond that and goes into my yard. I've got a big lot down at the end which follows that lot and just floods it. This has been an ongoing problem for a long time.
Let me just guess, that little berm that you're talking about, it's on the outside of the berm that it's coming down.
Yes.
Same kind of theory is what I'm speaking of with putting another berm. So there's very good point. There's another good point. It only works on one side. The other side could create a stream, especially if there's already a stream.
It doesn't look
going down.
like these things that you're talking about and your basin and all of that stuff isn't even addressing this problem down here. It doesn't even address that.
Well, it's not supposed to address existing problems, it's supposed to give us an overlook of what the future construction's supposed to be and what they're gonna do to contain the water, to keep the water at the same flow and no more and no less.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing that worries me the most, because this is not gonna make anything easier for me whatsoever. This is all gonna be a lot more of a problem. Because this is a big flat surface out there now, which is gonna just come right down and just be forced down in that whole area. I can see a lot of problems happening on my piece of property anyway. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the way his photography is, if it did fail, it will put him underwater.
Sarah, that 12-inch that he's mentioning, is that picked up? Do you know about that?
If it's on this property, yes, by the survey crew, but if it's on this gentleman's property, no.
But if it starts on your property and
Well,
goes
we
through
would
his
have it
property?
on our side, but not the outlet we're not gonna go on someone
Yeah,
else's
the
property.
outlet goes right through my property, right down to a catch basin on Mary Drive,
Okay.
which has been a problem in itself, because that water comes so heavy sometimes that 12-inch pipe doesn't take it.
Overloaded, yep,
It's
okay.
just too much.
Okay.
This is the
helpful
reason why we
for us
really
to
need to
know.
get this mapped. Whatever they're doing, this stuff needs to get
We
pushed
looked at that
around.
last time.
Yeah.
Because this
Very
is,
last, that was-
I'm telling you what it is, it's kind of stormwater.
Yes, yes.
What number is it?
Ryan's noted it.
I'm sorry?
What number is it?
It's 5 Mary Drive.
Five,
Yep.
okay. I just wanna make sure we
Mhm.
make a note of that.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Anybody else? Questions?
My name is Sarah Barbosa.
Sarah, could you step up to the podium if you would, please? Thank you.
Where'd you say right over here?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah.
I'm Sarah Barbosa. I will be reading a letter on the behalf of Debbie Cassidy, who lives at 1154 Rhonda Drive. Hello, my name is Debbie Cassidy. I live at 1154 Rhonda Drive. Sorry I could not attend this meeting tonight. I will be reading a few points and concerns that she had. I would like to know where these solar panels are going to be placed in this field. How close are they to my property lines? I have lived here 22 years and have never had water issues. With this project, water will be redirected and so will the drainage. How is that going to affect our properties? Never had I ever had a drop of water in my cellar. Who is going to be responsible if this starts happening? Your company or Mr. White? Have you seen how high the water table is behind our houses at its wettest? I can see pooling out there from my second floor. Last time I spoke with Mr. White at a meeting for the builders for his daughter's salon, Mr. White stated that he was not going to do anything with the land next to Rhonda Drive. Has anyone looked at the long-term health issues people may have living next to a solar farm? Living next to a solar farm gives off electromagnetic radiation, which may reduce life expectancy. The panels also contain harmful chemicals which can leak toxins. You have mentioned in your letters that fencing and landscape has been approved along with this project. I would recommend a 12-foot stockade fence, not chain link. As far as giving us up to $5,000 for landscapers for our property, then that is the responsibility of your company to maintain. I would say along with the projected approval for the fencing and landscaping that will be put in place, I think you should also give us the $5,000 each for landscaping. None of us want to look at this in our backyard. Tree fencing is not going to help. All of our homes are 2 stories. Also, there is so much wildlife you will be disturbing. I have at least 8 to 12 deer a few times a day out there. You can't hear me?
It's okay, yeah, because you're facing that way, but that's okay.
Solar farms adversely affect wildlife with the loss of habitat along with the native vegetation. They affect habitat degradation. I am concerned with the interference with rainfall and drainage. How are you going to make sure about the glare off of the panels, the noise levels, the heat pact, and our property values going down? During construction, the noise levels along with dust issues are of concern. I am not for the solar farm at all. I hope you listen to our concerns as this is not in your or Mr. White's backyard. Let the projected project be moved closer to the back of the old White's Farm Center. Personally, this is farmland and should stay as such, as should the other properties in town. Acushnet should preserve land instead of building unsightly solar farms on every parcel. It's a beautiful field with lots of natural beauty that you will be taking away for a solar farm. Debbie Cassidy.
Very well said.
Thank you. You said your name was Sarah?
Yes, Sarah Barbosa.
Thank you, Sarah.
I live at 1028 Ronda Drive.
What is it? Can we get a copy of that?
So just to comment on that letter, I agree with a lot of it. You know, unfortunately, we don't have a say on what people do with their land, so, you know, there's not much. As long as they follow the Wetland Protection Act and then the stormwater, which is getting peer reviewed by our engineer, so we're gonna ensure that the stormwater is taken care of one way or another. The other items on that letter, I would suggest you bring it to planning and voice your concerns there. But it was well written and it's noted, so thank you. Yep.
Mary Ann Barbosa, 1028 Ronda Drive. Like my daughter had said, and Debbie has said, I've been there over 20 years. My morning coffee with the grace of God and the sun coming up from the east is my haven. I want to know too, I've never had a drop of water in my home and in my cellar. I called my insurance company today to see what's the possibilities and how much it would cost in case we have flooding. And that's going to be a burden on myself and my family. So I want to know, with the project going forward, is there going to be a guarantee that we're not going to get any flooding in our homes?
Nate, you want to answer to that?
And why, and so much open land on the other side, why are you going so close to our homes on Ronda Drive?
Right around here. Yeah, this is our house.
Because it's probably the driest land, the driest spot. If I walk from my house
Right, so it's
to
all
across and you
Mhm.
sink,
So that's exactly, I mean, it makes no sense to me, all that land and you want to go right behind our homes.
The other side of Middle Road, right here.
So for the drainage, like I said, it's getting looked at by our engineer. He's very conservative with his calculations, working with him. I got a lot of respect for the guy. He's been really good for us. I take his word as it is, and he's never, you know, shown otherwise. I got a lot of respect for Bill, so I know he's gonna be working hard for the town and making sure no stone's not unturned, so I can say that. As for the setback, what is it? Is it 150 feet from the property line, or is that what it said on the plans?
The panels are 150 feet.
150 feet.
Yeah.
That again is with planning. They're in charge of the zoning and the solar bylaw, so that would be with planning, how far the panels are from your property line. We're pretty much just dealing with the stormwater and the wetlands at the moment, so that would be a good question for planning.
One more question for you guys. What do you plan on doing with the soils that are there right now? Are you planning on stripping it and putting in a different soil? Or are you gonna try to use the same farm loam that's there right now? And do construction on it?
So for the stormwater purposes, the detention basin is going to be a predominantly fill stormwater basin because the soils are, like you said, not well saturated. So that will be fill for the detention basin, and then really it's just minimal grading for the access road. Everything else is going to kind of stay the same in terms of topography.
What about the plantings? Not so much like the grass that's existing. Are you gonna try to maintain it? Similar blend, or are you using like a pollinator mix, or?
Yeah, I can't really speak to the construction means and methods, but it will be loam and seeded after, so still gonna
Stabilization.
What's gonna be the whole site?
underneath the panels. So
You're gonna have enough loam to do the whole.
Well, I don't think the topography's not gonna change.
Yeah.
They're not like stripping.
There's not gonna be any,
They're not clear cutting and
excavating.
stripping, yeah. The natural.
Coil.
Right.
It's already stable, so we don't need to strip that off and start from
Right.
scratch.
Right, yeah.
Let's use what's out there.
It's not meaning, I'm not, alright, maybe I haven't spoken wrong.
The only thing you're gonna have is the soils from the helicoils.
Well, and you're gonna have everything turned
The
up from
spoils.
the machinery going in and out to do the work,
Right. Yeah.
which is going to create, then to be touchy on when you do it.
Has there been any test pits out there?
Yes, we
Yes.
did, yep, stormwater test pits for the detention basin, and there was, 3 test pits done by a certified soil evaluator.
What about outside in the field itself?
Yeah, I think we saw a couple stakes when we were out there. That was locating where those test pits were, one of the ones that we saw.
I thought that was just for the detention basin.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were mostly focused in there.
Yep, yeah. Test pits were dug, obviously, for the detention basin, and then a few also in this general area.
Because I'd like to know what the soils are out in the field, right? So if you only got 4 inches of loam and then you're already hitting like a rust line or something, that means things could change,
No, it's just,
right? And that's why I was asking.
that's gonna be like 14 inches of loam at least.
You don't know until you dig.
Oh, I know. I've been back there.
All right, anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns?
My name is Dolores Viano. I live on 1130 Rhonda Drive. I've been there 26 years. My house was the 3rd house to be built. Before there was a fence there, we used to fly kites and walk the dogs, and we would literally walk from my house across the field to get to the water, and you could literally, as you got close, you would literally sink to the ground. And that's when I would tell the kids, okay, you gotta come back, because you could feel the moisture in the ground. So my concern, like she said, we have a lot of wildlife. We have turkeys, we have deer. I have at least 10 deer 3 times a week coming out in the field. It's wildlife. My other concern is, what is the purpose of these solar panels? Who is benefiting by it to take our beautiful field and make it into a solar panel field? For what reason? And I'm not trying to be fresh, please don't take it that way. Who's benefiting?
It's the owner's decision. I hate to say it, but it is the owner's
It's
decision.
you.
That's my thing is, personally, am I a fan? No, not really. But I can't tell somebody what they can and can't do
You're right,
with
you're
their
right, but
property, you know?
it's the only thing to me that is farmland. That was farmland, it should stay farmland, if anything. And I'm totally against it. I mean, it is total wetlands. I mean, we all know that. I've been living there 26 years. And when it rains, and even now, if you were to walk across there yourself, with all this rain this whole summer, I can imagine how much more the ground is totally saturated.
Hey, Acushnet residents?
I just have a-
New
Well,
Bedford.
They are New Bedford?
Yeah.
This is Acushnet in New Bedford.
Right.
Well, the Acushnet, I strongly suggest you bring this up to
I
other
just
boards
have a
about
question. Isn't
stormwater.
farmland grandfathered in? Is that not way back?
I don't know. I don't know if they have it in chapter 61, or I don't know how, I don't know his situation with that.
That's irrelevant though, he can change his, zoning at any time.
Change the
Why
views.
they told us
Excuse me,
nothing
ma'am.
could ever go there because it was farmland.
Excuse
And that
me.
would always be grandfathered in.
Excuse me,
That's what
excuse
you
me,
told
I'm up
us.
here trying to answer your question. So, it doesn't matter if it was farmland or it wasn't farmland. Any right of any property owner with such large enough land to be zoned as a farmland also has the right to have it unzoned or rezoned or whatever way you want to say. It's the biggest problem. It's at the end of the day. I know everybody has a concern, but it's his field, like Ryan keeps saying, and we can't tell people what they can and can't do. We can only just try and benefit everybody and make sure the project's done to the best way it could possibly done, so there's the least amount of impact, if any impact, to anybody surrounding. None of us can tell Mr. White what to do with his land, unless it falls under one of the bylaws, such as 310 CMR. That's, or stormwater law. If it's not zoned, this was done by a botanist, and we have to try our best to agree with his studies and what he's done in all his schooling. They do go through significant schooling to be able to identify these. Do they make mistakes? Certainly. I think every one of us here makes our own mistakes in every area of expertise we work in or have worked in. We just gotta try to do our best to make sure that no larger, main thing is no larger problems occur. You know, and like they were stating, we gotta try to keep it the same, no more or no less. And it's not right to Mr. White if we all come together and say, oh, well, you have to fix the stormwater problem that another source is causing. That's not his problem.
Mr. Chairman, would you mind if I say something to the public?
Yeah, good.
One thing is, if you got more concerns, you should go to the planning board meetings. The other thing is, we hired, or the town has Bill Madden checking this out for us, doing all the calculations. I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean it's 100% guaranteed, but we're not just going by what they're saying. We put it out for a peer review. They're gonna probably butt heads a little bit. Things might have to be changed, we're not sure. But we do try to do our best to make sure that things don't go by wrong by hiring an outsider. So that's the best we can do right now, is we handed it to an engineer that works on this. He's very good with the town, he's very good with us. I really feel very confident in what he has to say. So I think the planning board, and let's see what Bill Madden has to say, and then we can go from there.
Right, there will be more public hearings on this. Right now, we just opened this public hearing up to introduce the project to you guys. We're gonna get the peer review comments back from Bill, and we'll have more to discuss, and we can give all the results from everything to you guys. So this is pretty much preliminary.
Yeah.
We're just starting the process, and for transparency reasons, we want everybody to know where we're at in the project. So the peer review for everything, for the planning and for stormwater, has been sent off to peer review at the moment.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Does the commission typically have the peer review come to the hearing once his review is prepared?
Typically, he does, yeah.
Okay, I was just thinking it might be helpful for the public and the commission to be able to ask him questions. I mean, we can all read a report, but sometimes it helps to be able to ask the person questions, you know, in a live way.
Yeah, normally, like he came for the ANRAD. He was there for the ANRAD.
Okay.
And pretty much once all his comments are complete, and he's satisfied with what's, the back and forth between you guys, he normally comes to the final.
Because we can work on the technical aspect of it, but I think it would be helpful to hear it straight from him in the public forum.
And he's great at explaining,
yes, for sure,
everything down to our knowledge levels, He breaks it down pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, we as a commission do trust him.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a great choice.
Yeah.
I think he will represent the
Yeah,
town
he's
well.
an expert in his field at what he does.
Yes.
So we're pretty confident.
For sure.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? No. All right, so that's where we're at right now. All the calculations, plans, everything from our end has been handed off to Bill and his team, and at the moment, we're waiting to hear back with what he's got.
And I think as the applicant, we would be amenable to continuing maybe beyond the next hearing if you think he needs more time. I'm not sure what the schedule is, but we're open to that if he needs the time.
So what's our November meeting?
So in November, we have one meeting the 13th, and then December, we have one meeting on the 11th due to scheduling with the ads and stuff from holidays and Thanksgiving and Veterans Day and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's always worked that way the past few
So,
years.
what do you think, November 13th?
I mean, if you think he can get us comments, and we'll do our very best to respond to it so that we can have the discussion on the 13th. It's more than a month, so I think it seems feasible.
Right.
I don't know what his workload is like, but.
the one bill is heavy.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion to continue this for November 13th.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you,
so
guys.
folks, you guys got your abutter notifications. Just mark it down on your calendar. Unfortunately, you won't get another abutter notification since the public hearing's been open, so just watch our agendas. It's not gonna be the next meeting, it'll be the meeting afterwards that we have.
Planning commission meeting.
The planning board meeting,
You don't have it scheduled yet?
17th, yeah.
Why don't we,
is it on the 17th?
It's
agenda?
not, no, it's
No.
not. You'll get another abutter mailing when that is accepted by the planning board with the date of their hearing.
Bridget's done?
We will get one?
Yes, if you
Yeah,
live
so-
within 300 feet of the property line, you'll get another.
So the abutter notifications that you got were for Concom. Planning sends out another set of notifications.
And then you can put in your notes that ours is the 15th.
And, okay, so, ready, everybody listen carefully. Go on to Acushnet website, town website,
Good idea.
and you can go on there and what is it, right off the homepage?
Yeah, right on the bottom of the homepage on the Acushnet website, you can sign up for email notifications. I try to tell everybody to do that. You can choose whatever you want. You can choose Concom, you just check the boxes. Concom, planning, select board, whatever you want to do. Probably don't care about the selectmen if you're in New Bedford, but definitely this project pertains to you. Planning, Concom.
Yeah.
You'll get an email.
It's Acushnet.
Yeah, Acushnet.gov.
Just search
No,
for
no.
.ma.us.
Oh, yeah, that's right, .ma.us.
And you can call my office anytime and leave a message and I'll get back to you
Okay.
and I can find it out. I can look on the calendar, it's relatively easy and quick.
And just,
Because the website at the bottom, when you do click on it, it will give you different, like,
Okay.
options, like agendas, meetings. You gotta make sure you check the agenda box, so just
Oh,
clear
okay.
that up too, because
Right.
there's different options they can, like, it could be an events calendar, it could be the
Yeah.
agenda calendar, it could be the minutes calendar. Just make sure you click all the way
All the
through
way,
for
okay.
everything.
yeah,
But
or you
feel
do
free
what
to
I
call
did,
the
I clicked
office
all
and
of them
we'll
and I
help you.
just delete them when they come in if I don't like them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you
evening.
guys, have a good night.
Thank you all for your
Thank you.
Oh, do you want your full plans?
If you need the extra copy.
I have.
We have a set,
Okay,
right?
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Public hearing, notice of intent, Justin Lawrence, Lambert Street, map 18, lots 4G, 4H, 4K. SE file number 0010597. A notice of intent was filed by Justin Lawrence for property located at Lambert Street, map 18, lots 4G, 4H, and 4K. The applicant proposes to construct a single-family dwelling with gravel driveway and installation of underground utilities together with filling and grading within the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. The applicant is represented by David DeVignan of PE of Schneider, Vignan and Leon. Plan name is Site Plan for property located at the end of Lambert Street in Acushnet, Mass. Dated September 25th, 2024. Review of matters presented. Votes may be taken. I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. DeVignan, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have extra large plans if you need them. So for the record, Dave DeVignan, Schneider, DeVignan Leone. I'm here representing Justin Lawrence, who's also with me in the audience, as well as at least one family member. He's an abutter as well. And also with us is another direct abutter who is kind of key to the whole project. This is, to me, when you look at it on paper, it's a straightforward project, but it's very complex as to how we got here. So the property is located at the end of Lambert Street. The lot was created some time ago, I think in 1982. The roadway was laid out, and the abutting, there's one house on the road now. The road as it exists today is basically a gravel driveway, but it does sit within the road layout. And when you get to the end of the road layout is this property, which when it was originally created was slightly over 55,000 square feet. So at the time, the lot complied with zoning for lot size, but it didn't have the frontage. It basically sits at the end of the road, and it has 50 feet of frontage at the end of this 54 wide layout. So when Mr. Lawrence approached me and our office, the idea was how do we create a buildable lot of parcel. So the first thing that we looked at was the lot doesn't meet 60,000 square feet, which is the minimum lot size. So the abutting property is owned by family, and so we carved out a piece through an A&R plan to provide more area to the lot, create 60,000 square feet. Then the next issue is road frontage. Currently, this is not the site plan that we're here to discuss. What this is a preliminary subdivision plan that was actually developed with the intention of building out the road in full, and this is what it would look like with a hammerhead to create the frontage. So we laid this out. The triangle piece that would be added, will be added to the lot, comes out in this piece from family from the abutting property. We went to the Board of Appeal after laying this out with a cul-de-sac, hammerhead type turnaround, I should say. We looked at what's left after we had the wetlands flagged for upland area. So we were short the upland area. You need 40,000 square feet out of the 60, and we had 31,000 of 30,056 square feet of upland so we're short from 40,000 to meet that. So the next step we did is we went to the Board of Appeals, and we went with a lot layout that showed what the lotting would look like. The abutter showed up, and he had an attorney representing him, and his concern was a full build out of what this would result in. You can see the house that he has is fairly close to the road layout. He has a driveway, everything going on right out front. There's actually a drainage ditch that is shown on the site plan that actually takes the water from this wetland. It's like a wetland finger-like projection and drains the water back into the wetland system. So after the first ZBA meeting, we met them on site. We talked about what would be best for both neighbors. And what seemed to be best is their lawyer put forth to the ZBA, we'd like to see less roadway, more of a singular driveway concept. But in order to do that, they'd have to give us a variance for the frontage. So the concept was eliminate this and let us just use what's there, 50 feet of frontage, and leave the lot in its current state. So the Board of Appeals approved both the variance for the area, the upland area, which was less now that we added the hammerhead to it. And they thought it best for the neighborhood and the wetlands and the surrounding neighborhood to grant the variance for the frontage. So this plan went out the window, and we came up with a much more subtle entrance to get to the lot, which is a singular driveway which comes off of, basically you come off the road about 75, 80 feet, and then the driveways would split. The abutting property would keep his driveway, keep his parking area. The stream exists right in this location. We shoved the driveway all the way to the west so that we can leave that stream in place. And so basically this finger-like wetland would stay in place, this would all be natural. The dark green represents that which would be still wooded. We'd leave it alone. The lighter green represents the current wetland system. So we're proposing a natural buffer zone between the wetland system. Over here would be wetland that would be preserved, and all this green would stay in there, and everything is pushed to the other side. So we are crossing this narrow strip of wetland, which requires us to alter 2,290 square feet, and proposing to replicate that in this location adjacent to this wetland. This wetland system is the same as this wetland system. It actually wraps around the abutting property, so it's one gargantuan wetland system. We have culverts in place over here to keep the connection on both sides. And as we cross the wetlands, we're going to do so without having to put any utilities in. They have the availability of sewer and municipal water, and that's all gonna come in, heading in a westerly direction through an easement, through another family member, which is page 2 of the site plan. Heading out to Clark Street, we're gonna create a 20-foot wide easement. Both houses on both sides are family members of the applicant. We're gonna create a 20-foot wide easement through an upland area, bring in sewer, which was already brought in from Lakeview Street to Clark Street to this house. We're gonna bring in a force main and water line and electric right down the middle, bring it onto the lot so that the only activity that would occur through the layout would be the construction of this 10-foot wide. We have it labeled as paved or gravel. I already received a call from the abutting neighbor's attorney requesting that it be gravel, and we don't really have an issue with that. We would change it to pavement right here so that they have a parking area going into the garage that's paved. So all the utilities would come through that easement and into the house in the upland area over here. It's upland to the west, it's upland to the south. Pretty much you see the bubble line of what would be the limits of the activity, and the total area, including the driveway entrance, would be 33,400, so we're actually well less than the 40,000 required for a stormwater permit. And it is a single-family home. The homes will be centrally located on the upland area. The wetland line was flagged by Brad Holmes of ECR, a very reputable company. We've detailed in the NOI how this replication will be built. Essentially, we dig out the spoils through the wetlands here. This would be pre-dug before any activity happened in this area. So they clear the trees in this area, excavate it out to that it's 12 inches below the finished design grade of the wetlands, and then start digging through here as we remove the spoils, put that into the wetland system as the base for that new area. That area will be graded down so that it blends in and matches and slightly less than the wetland system adjacent to it. So we meet the 1-to-1 for the wetlands. We have hydraulic connection from this wetland side to that wetland side. We have extensive erosion control running along both sides of the project, as well as the wetland system where the replication would occur. The erosion control actually, when you get onto the site, comes and wraps around all the way through and ends in here because this is all upland to the south. If you were to visit the site, there were some stakes that were floating around there that weren't labeled probably. That was when we met a couple of months ago back when we were doing the CBA. We met with the neighbor and we were kind of putting some stakes with some eyeballs. But then our survey crew went out and we did put a centerline stake that should have been marked where the centerline of that driveway would come onto the property, and then the house was staked as well for you to view. And if you saw that ditch, it's a man-made ditch, but it looks like a stream, you know, because it really takes the water and kind of funnels it away. So we did receive a DEP file number, and it basically outlined that we have to comply with the alteration wetland replication, and we do. We identify that in the notice of intent. I'm not sure if there's anything more I can add. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I found every one of the flags, found the stakes for the property. It's pretty distinguishable that, you know, the flag line, because there is that like ditch, it like kind of like drops off, so I see it. What's the corner, so that would be the the easternmost corner of that building. How far is it from the wetlands?
I believe in the narrative we have 36 feet, dimension 36 feet.
Okay.
And then we have 60 feet in this direction.
Yeah.
And obviously it's upland in these two sides. But we're showing a 15-foot no closest point for no activity, and then it actually gets wider as you go around the corner. And obviously it pinches down as you get to the wetland system as it comes in this direction.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
So, Dave, the area you have at the top highlighted pink, that's an existing wetland
No, this pink
That's what we-
represents the area that we're gonna replicate.
So it's your replication?
Yes.
Okay.
So in that area, what are they gonna, they're gonna take out all the pines that are in there?
Yes, the area will be clear of trees, unless there's a wetland tree that would, be useful as part of the new wetland system. Generally speaking, if it's all pines, be all cleared out, grubbed, and then lowered in grade. So we have it set so that it's slightly lower than the wetland grade, so it'll always be full of water and the plants will take. And then we have a planting schematic for so many trees and so many shrubs.
Anybody else, questions, comments, concerns? Anybody in the public, questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, it's Howard Allen.
Hi, Howard.
I'm the abutter that was talking about. I wish I could have seen what you, as you were showing now on this. Would you mind looking at this with me for a minute? Just to kind of clarify this.
Okay, so the pink here that's your gravel area.
Right.
There's some stone over here,
Yep.
and that's your driveway, which transitions from gravel to pavement.
Yeah, I recognize all that.
Yeah, that stays the same. This right here is the ditch, that remains.
Right.
And everything is pushed over.
Okay, we appreciate the moving this over and all. I have no objections to it. I think that's what we had asked for. But I just want to clarify something. This is a wetland. We call this a wetlands, right? And these gentlemen you all went out and looked at this last weekend.
Right.
Just to make sure, this slopes, this starts up where the beginning of our gravel road starts, and it is all downhill, pretty much following this, and this is the wetlands, and that's true. Now, my question, I guess, where is the intent for all the water that is going to end up in here, both sides of this road? Where is it ultimately going to go?
The intent is to pitch the runoff from the road into this wetland
Into
system.
this direction, towards my house?
Yes.
And the water is going to...
Well, into the wetland system.
Okay, and it's going to go where?
The grades go up as you go to your house, so the wetland system is the low spot.
But, okay,
It's gonna go where it goes now.
all right, I just to make sure everybody understands where the intent is for this to go. This is our yard, and our cleared, what we call our front lawn, basically ends right at the edge of this. Remember this little ditch? Someone
Yeah, there's a road.
way back in the
Rhododendrons that we
Right.
located in front there.
way
That
back in the
stays.
day, someone did some kind of little tiny channel all the way along here. But just to make sure everyone understands, that's the edge of my front lawn, is that little channel that they dug where the water flows. And I have seen in heavy rains that we get maybe once, twice, 3 times a year, that channel doesn't even come close to carrying the water that flows out of this whole area and across the edge of my front lawn. And I have seen that water flow in a stream that went from the edge of my yard halfway to my house, maybe 12, 15 feet wide sometimes during the heaviest rain. And my belief, looking at all this, is no matter what, that's not going to change, because you don't intend to do anything with any of this water except keep on sending it where it's all is gone, which is basically across my yard. I just want to be clear that, so everybody understands, that's what you intend to do and that's what's going to happen. Am I right? Am I correct about that? This is where you intend to send the
I'm not exactly
water.
sure what the question is.
Well,
I mean, you're
where
kind
this-
of all over the place.
The question is where you intend to send the water.
Okay.
It sounds like it's right across my front lawn.
Mr. Allen, let's go back to the original plan.
All right,
Okay.
I'm
You
not
didn't
trying
like
to...
this plan. Okay, this plan, just so the commission understands, this plan proposed a full blowout of a road. It also proposed a drainage swale along his side, running the whole length all the way out past your property. But in order to make all that flow go for the bigger road,
Right,
twice the size,
Mhm.
counting this is probably 3-4 times the size.
yeah.
We're gonna build an earth berm between that and his house, running the whole length as well.
Mhm.
That gives you 100% assurances.
All right, well, let's see
But
the
that-
one you're doing.
but
This
that
one,
involves taking out the whole layout.
I know, we're
every
not
tree,
doing
but-
this, so let's put
But you
this down.
objected to that when we went to
Yeah.
the Board of Appeals,
Mhm.
and we came back with something that is,
Right, and I don't object to that. Like I said, we appreciate what you're doing here. My concern is only that where this water ultimately, looks like it's, to me, is still gonna go, is right where it always has, which is right across the edge of mine. What can you do to mitigate that anymore? It looks like the water's gonna come off of this and it's all gonna run this way.
If the commission would allow us, we could clean out the stream and make sure that it has a continuous flow past your property.
Well, like maybe enlarge it or something, or do
Well,
whatever to make sure that
If
that.
there are roots, trees, stumps, anything's in there blocking it,
Mhm.
rocks, that's.
Because the reality is, no matter what, that's where the water's gonna go. It's going to go right, and it's basically the edge of our
Exactly.
lawn.
Well, where
And
it goes now.
yeah, and I mean, it may not be any worse, it may not be any better, but that's where it's gonna go. There's really no, because water doesn't flow uphill, it flows down, and downhill is exactly where your lines go.
Maybe,
I didn't bring that up to be a jerk or kill this, I just want to be clear where that wetland is. It's the edge of our lawn, and it spreads out across that, and it does on really heavy rains, and it looks like it's still going to.
maybe this should be brought up to, on another board where I'm hitting the, for the stormwater aspect. If it's a problem already, maybe, I don't think it's gonna be right for the owner of the property to try to take care of a water flow issue that you're explaining is coming from a known street that's a public way. Maybe that might be something you wanna address with.
I don't think that's where it's coming from. It comes from.
Yeah, so you're saying it's coming off the road. You're saying it's coming off the road.
I don't know where it comes from.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, you're saying it's coming off the road and it's going down into that stream. Maybe you need to talk to the town about stopping it from coming in that way, off the road, and might have a chance of going that route. But I don't think that's gonna contend with this project as on their end.
Stormwater coming from the upgrading road,
I brought that up.
But that's
we
what
don't have years to wait for the town.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it sounds like more of it's a town issue.
Well,
Then, I'm not saying that I wouldn't go
but
towards
in
the.
respect to the abutters, I think, right here I show a 15-foot no activity zone. With the commission's okay, we'll have to cut into that, but we can create a swale back here and run it in the uplands adjacent to the wetlands to get over to here and get that water spill out faster.
Yeah, that might be the.
I understand what both of you gentlemen are saying.
We're trying to coexist.
I'm just trying.
We're not asking for miracles.
I'm just trying to understand.
Drainage.
I'm not saying, hey Dave, it's you.
No, I
I'm
know
not saying it's
what
you.
you're saying, Mr. Damaris, that there is obviously there's a drainage issue that's coming from a road level.
So it's irrelevant. What I'm trying to get at is his question is kind of irrelevant from the project at hand.
That's what I'm curious.
Yeah, that.
Dave, could a berm be created on that curb?
Better answer.
He just explained on the other last project that he put in front of the planning board that the gentleman did not want to see the berm and he didn't want the plant life to be taken out. So, in results, Dave designed this.
Right.
But we can enhance it. We're willing to work with the neighbor. So,
Yeah.
we were going to ask for continuance for 2 weeks anyway, because we're going to go before the planning board and make sure they're okay with everything.
Yeah,
Next week.
I don't know if the only reason I was mentioning that it might be a stormwater system in that area already from the town. I don't know. I don't have the
think so.
plans.
No, it didn't look like it.
I know, I didn't see that. I did see a lot of.
The water on Amber Street either pitches towards the whites or pitches down that way.
Yeah.
I think the
I mean,
peak is somewhere
Did
up
you
there.
guys, did you guys look at
This
that
side goes
stuff?
this way and that side goes that way.
That's one of the big problems we are coming across is that they're not responsible to look at
Well, no,
that.
look, I
Look,
agree.
we're willing to try to
But again.
make a better
he
project.
doesn't-
I'm listening to
you
the
know,
butters. I have no problem looking.
They're
It's just
trying to
gonna take away
mitigate.
some of that 15-foot no activity zone, but
Yeah,
if it improves
I mean,
quality of life
if you
for the
can,
neighbor, that's
you
good.
know,
I think.
minimize the impact, Dave. You know what I'm saying? Is try to maintain some of the,
Mark,
What's-
what do you got?
So What's the elevation difference south of where that water's already been flowing versus south to the north? Because if it's creating more flow, it's gonna go to the, I don't know if on the south side, the elevation, you're saying the butter's property is, goes up.
The grade's about 133 up here, and then it flattens out to 132, somewhere about right here, and then it's fairly flat, which is somewhat of a problem. As we get towards downstream over here, we have 132 here. So throughout here,
Not much, yeah.
there's not much grade change.
No, it's not
in
much
order to-
movement,
Yep,
no.
right, so, but we do have a 131 down here. So my thought is take the 131 and drag that up to the 132 over here, and get at least if the water's sitting in here and then it goes into the ditch, instead of pooling up, it'll have a place to
Because that's all it's
release.
gonna do
What about,
with that elevation.
what about redirecting, where you have the replication right now? They also are a family-owned all through the back there, right?
Yes, the family used to own this property. This is the only one
Yep,
that
they-
they own. The family owns property here.
Is there any
here.
way you could maybe do something in that section to try to catch the water? It will keep the wetland, it will help the replication, so now you don't have to worry about the water not getting to that level. And maybe you could do a different, there's all kinds of different types of wetland stormwater systems, maybe something throughout that nature to go off before it gets down there?
Problem is, it's too flat.
Right.
You have a 133 that
Just.
That does this in a
That's what I'm
right
saying,
place.
we can't pipe it into the back to the,
In order to capture the water, like say right here, that's the best we could do. To get it over here, we have to install catch basins. And we just don't have the grade difference.
yeah, I get it.
You get your rim, you get 12 inches of cover, the pipe is another foot down because you got a thickness of the catch basin. So you really, from rim to outlet pipe, you got about 2.5 feet. You don't have that.
Yeah.
Well, what, do you have it if you move out?
They got 2 feet difference from the top of the road down to
From here.
the house.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is,
It's all
it's
red.
flat.
It's
But
not
what
much.
about, see where the
We have a
green,
133 running through here.
Right.
see where the green is over here? Where the wetland line is?
Right here?
Over more,
there?
in there.
Yeah.
What's the elevation in there?
It drops down 130.
Do you have room to go that complete route with it? Or would that be more harm than foul?
We'd be fighting the grade to go this way to get there.
Well, I wasn't talking the lower half, I'm just trying to stop the top half from coming down.
Well, he's
You get what I'm saying?
concerned about the water near his house.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
The
there's a water
focus
there.
is because this comes down and it's not a problem going by the driveway, it's a problem when it gets on this little corner here. So we'll look at
Yeah.
picking it up from right where this stream is and getting it over to here as best we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, they see where that could be possible.
And we'll just end up going into this green, that's all.
Okay. Anyone else? Questions, concerns, comments? No?
Do you have the green cards, Dave?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nick was that, put his hand up, right?
No, I did have a question, but about the replication, but then you have a pretty detailed description of what you're gonna do, what you're proposing, you know, the mix of the plants and the 75%. So it answered my question.
Excellent.
Didn't remember seeing, well, I did remember it, but it was easier. So never mind, I don't have a question.
It's a tough project, Dave. It's flat.
Well,
It's just a nice piece of property.
Yeah.
Just getting to it
right.
is probably, stuff.
Getting there, yeah.
I know for a fact, I saw a lot of rooting and stuff going out there, so I can understand where his concern is. There was there a man-made ditch dug? Yes. Was there also naturally made rooting going on in there? Yes. So I can see where he says when it rains really hard, a lot of that flow is coming out of there. That's the only, and that's something I wouldn't expect you to look at, or anybody, because that's a problem that would be ups farther than the property we're looking at. That's why I kind of retracted myself and said it was somewhat irrelevant. But it is I just see it helping and causing more of this problem to happen that we're trying to fix right now. But
And what's funny is there is a catch basin up on top of that road.
That's what I'm
Christian
getting.
and I were parked right next to it.
so that's why I said to talk to another board, because I also did visually see another catch basin, and maybe reach out to them, and maybe they could put another catch basin in there to help catch the water before it comes in there.
It's always a possibility.
Because it is something that
It's a
us as a
possibility.
town is trying to take care of right
I
now.
agree.
as we
No,
speak.
I agree. I've
Look
seen,
what they're
I've
doing
seen
to Middle Road
improvements.
right now.
It does take a while. It takes a while.
Oh, it takes a
Really,
while.
it really
It
comes down
does take a while, and
to analyzing
again, I've
wherever
seen-
that nearest manhole
I have
is, if you
seen
can put some
stormwater
bases in and get gravity to it, whether it works or not.
And I wouldn't expect you to put that in
Hopefully
your
it doesn't
plans,
come
because
to
that's
that.
not what you're hired to do. That's why I was stating that maybe he would want to go to another board and approach them about this issue also. I'm not saying anything, I'm just trying to broaden your thought process of not just pointing it towards this project, and to try to take the whole concept as a whole into consideration, and not just, because I know others that have water problems in that area also. So, like everybody else in the Acushnet.
Yeah, the whole town. All right, so Dave, you're asking for a continuance to October 23rd meeting.
Yes, please.
Okay. Is there a motion to
Make that
continue?
motion to continue to the 23rd.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
See you on the 23rd.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big meeting, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Aye. Aye.
So bring a lawn chair. All right.
Just a question, Dave, I don't see all of these there, is.
That's why the white slips are there. Some of them weren't returned.
Missing, okay.
Yeah. Whichever green cards we don't get, we add the white slips.
Okay.
Because that's the date they were sent out. Some people refuse to go to the post office.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Good luck with
Thanks,
the
Dave.
project.
All right, discussion, 324 Main Street progress update, review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Mark?
Matt?
324 Main Street, discussion, progress update.
So, on Friday, Mr. Roman,
Excuse me, by the door. We still have a meeting going on, please.
Take it outside.
Thanks.
so, Mr. Roman has retained Brad Holmes to come out, and he's gonna delineate the wetland area on his property. I think Brad was trying to do it, this Sincarpa is also we're gonna go walk that on Friday at 9, and then we're gonna go from there over to 324 Main Street.
Okay.
So, that's the progress. The last time, week before last, it got canceled. So, I'm thinking that if, for some reason, the concern is Tripoli, and if we get canceled again on Friday, I'm gonna see if Brad,
We'll go straight to.
yeah, if we can't just go over there and get that done, because we need to get that rolling.
Mark, was anything mentioned about the manure on site?
No, but I'm gonna bring it up. It looks like, I've been by, it looks like there's some cable that's been put up with those trees, which I think is his paddock, so I'm gonna see.
I mean, if the wetlands are that close, we do have to look at where all this manure is
Yep.
going. and-
Runoff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
extremely high nitrogen, and we got enough nitrogen problems already.
We do. The
Yeah,
water
so he
shed.
might have to compost that somewhere.
Or truck it off. There's
Yeah,
a few farms in the
holidays.
Acushnet now that do that now. They put it in dumpsters and they get rid of it, a lined dumpster. They get it out of here so it don't run into the property.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
So that's just something we gotta look into.
I will
Yeah, there'd be,
bring that up, we'll be looking at that.
Also, I think it was Doug, right? Which one? We were supposed to talk to the EPA?
DEP?
DEP.
Yeah.
Was that ever reached out to?
That would be Matt. Did you call the DEP on that property?
Yeah, you did.
I did. I reached out and they agreed.
Yeah.
They agreed that trying to deal with it informally was a good way to go as long as there was cooperation. And he's been cooperating up to this point, so I would recommend.
They're trying to let us handle it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's,
It's the way to go.
Well, at least it's,
I don't have an issue with that.
No, we have the closest eyes on it.
I just know that that was brought up last.
Right.
yeah, I reached
Yeah,
out,
that's
I reached out to DEP and for a couple of reasons on that property, and went back and forth, but yeah, they felt that was a good approach. If you've got cooperation.
Yeah, as long as he's
It's-
cooperating and willing to work and.
Yeah, it's-
Beautiful.
Okay, moving along, agent updates, any agent updates?
That's the next meeting, too, right?
maybe quick, I took a couple, I just mentioned these site visits, I've done a couple other ones, this 474 Middle Road, walked that, sent that letter, and we kind of got a response to that. Chris Ciano was the person, you know, applying.
Yeah.
And he came into the office, he said, I just saw the letter, you know, said, we're not gonna do anything else, we were just trying to clear it to get it surveyed. I guess the owner, Mrs. Moore, is interested, or wants to stay, she's got a house on the property, she wants to stay, so I think part of the survey is they're gonna have to subdivide it if, you know, so she can, you know, maintain the house there.
Residents.
Yeah, and he also mentioned that he thought the town had right of first refusal, I don't totally, but, so that came up as well, I said, well, you know, I don't know what's up with that, but,
I haven't heard anything, normally we get a letter.
yeah, all right, that's new to me. You can, I left a card, I've got that information if anybody, yeah. He said, and I forget the road, but it's directly across Middle Road right there. It's narrow. He's concerned, you know.
This is Lane.
It is.
Yeah.
This is Lane.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's concerned about affecting neighbors coming in and out with equipment and,
I think he's already done that.
yeah, I think so, but
A couple times.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think that was the idea.
Hypothetically.
That you got?
Yeah.
All right, other business, you here for something, sir?
I was listening on the Keene Road, and then I'm new to the town, so
okay.
Eric actually invited me down. He came over to take a look at some trees to take down, and told me I should just come and listen and find out some stuff. And
Very good.
Okay.
after that, I just wanted to see if there was any literature I could have on that project or anything like that.
Okay. All right, other business, I just want to remind everybody, hunting season started on Monday.
Get your best.
Just keep your dogs on leashes. Hunters are responsible with identifying their targets, but I just, you know, remind everybody, if you're out in the woods, try to keep your dog on the leash. It's not required, but it's, you know, for their safety and everybody's safety. It's archery season, so.
Safety best for site visits would
You're
be great.
safer in the wood with the archers at the guns.
Yeah.
We've all been on a site
some
visit
color.
where we've heard some gunshots.
Yeah, well, it's archery until,
I found arrows this.
till December, so.
We got a little while.
We got a little while.
Do we, or as anybody know, actually, we were driving by the street on Middle Road, and I can't remember the name of the project, and it was the project where they were going to put the two-car garage with something above with the patio in that backyard.
Oh, Archer's Way.
Archer's
Way, yeah,
Kamara.
Yeah.
Have we heard anything on that project as?
So I was actually having breakfast with Kenny. I know Kenny very well, and right now it's still pretty much all stopped. He really don't know what he wants to do, and
Is
now
that
he's
right?
thinking, yeah,
He
he's
said
thinking
that,
about
yeah.
going in a different direction.
Yep.
So I think it's still up in the air. I'm not sure what his real plan is, but we still haven't heard from his
Well, 'cause he
engineer.
hasn't- he hasn't come back in, right?
Yeah, 'cause I know
'cause,
we were waiting to hear
Rick,
on the
we haven't heard
engineer.
anything from Rick.
Nope. So he's still waiting to see what he wants to do, I guess, and I guess he was talking, I mean, he heard about the last meeting when we were saying that is kind of close to that wall's
Right,
edge.
right.
So he's kind of changing things a little bit, but he's still not sure what he wants to do, so I mean, until we hear from his engineer, I think we should just, you know, I know we continued it a few times and then it just like
Now it's.
disappeared, so.
Right.
We'll just wait for Rick to come back and bring it up.
Sleeping dogs lie.
Yep.
I had one more other thing too. Can we have any say on what these solar farms do afterwards?
No,
No, it's through
no,
planning.
we're specifically
So that was like all the
stormwater
main-
and.
So, but the
wetlands.
vegetation, so now if they're putting,
All the screening and everything through planning.
oh, sure, yeah.
I have
Fencing, everything, had nothing to do with us.
The maintenance of it.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, we can ask for a pollinator blend of grass seed planted. I mean,
Well, my
pretty
receptive
to stuff like that.
my concern would be, like, I see a lot of them that just get maintained, like, I'll just use Wing Lane for an example. I had pine trees all across the front of it, which are no longer there. But with that said, with them not there, they are not soaking up the water anymore that could have been in the original plan. If that was taken into consideration, was the plantings for slowing down flow off of these properties. Now, that's where I started dwelling, like, maybe, because it seems like a lot of them, they just, after they're done, it's just like, poof, they're done. Now we don't touch them, now we don't leave them, the grass grows high, the arborvitaes die, the trees disappear, now we don't have
Like the
that.
one on Main Street.
We don't have that stop now,
Which was cut. But I noticed the erosion control's still up there the other day, and I got a COC, so it's already stabilized.
Yeah, like, so, but what I'm saying is, you know, you're taking
No, I get
consideration.
it. And when those concerns were brought to me, I reached out to the solar companies, and I was told that I didn't need to do that anymore, that it falls in the hands of planning.
Right, so it's outside of your,
Yeah, the plantings have nothing to do with us.
So if you get concerns, go to the planning board.
Yeah.
Sit at a meeting.
No, I was just concerned
No,
that,
it's
are we, this
Yeah.
is what I'm concerned of, are we taking these plantings in consideration when Madden's going over all these projects and looking at the water flow, the water system, how fast it flows
No,
off,
I
because
think-
that would all
I
change?
think a lot of the plantings are outside of the. All right.
right,
Yeah.
outside of the development.
I think it's
Yeah,
just for
that's
show.
right.
Yeah, it's for screening purposes.
Yeah.
Which is
Right.
still something
Yeah.
that if, I mean, should go in
Yeah,
front of
should.
the planning board, that these people have to maintain these
We
screenings,
don't,
right? So
agree.
even you look on Robinson Road, same thing, there's a lot of plants that are dying, falling down. So
grass
that's
is high.
something, yeah, that's something the planning board would have to get involved. But I honestly think maybe should go to a planning board and say, listen, this is something we should think about in the future, that we hold them liable to keep these screening plants alive, because that's what they are, is screening
Yeah.
plants.
Right. Okay, no other business, future business. Next meeting for the Concom will be on October 23rd, 2024. Meeting is to be held at the Town Hall Meeting Room, right here, located at 122 Main Street, Acushnet, Mass. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.